other people that go through that fear and anxiety, I want to say, be kind to yourself. Kind of tame that beast. If you can tame it and quieten it down, but also move forward, you can ride that shit. You can make it work for you, if that makes any sense.
The dancer died twice, and tonight we're gonna chalk them out. It's the podcast that talks about what dancers shouldn't talk about. Connecting all dancers from aspiring to retire. We had those conversations, yeah, we're here to light the fire. The dancer dies twice, he dies twice.
Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. It's called The Dancer Dies Twice. It's a space where we get to gather as performing artists to talk about our stories of what happens behind the curtains. And this space is created for people who are either aspiring professionals, who need a bit of guidance. Perhaps you're already on a job right now needing to, get a bit of support because you're facing some challenges. Or maybe you've already gone through the inevitable and you've retired and you need some kind of closure. Well, guys, this is a space for that, to feel connected. And I've got a really exciting guest today. I'm not going to go into too much about his professional background, but he's seen success on an international scale. He's a phenomenal live performing artist, to say the least. And this guy, we worked together on Magic Mike Live, and I've had the privilege to know him as a friend, a very close friend for that matter. There's very few real people that you get to cross paths with, especially in this space in the industry. So it's a very I guess I'm very privileged to have such a talented friend. And this space we're going to talk about, we'll find out a little bit more about his artistic expressions, how he's come to be. And this is exciting for me as well, because I actually don't ever really get to know people and my friends in this space. So thank you so much, brother, for coming on. I'm going to introduce him. It's Josh Williams. What's up, man?
What's up, man? Hey, that was a cool introduction. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
All good. So I know you're short on time right now. So, and I really appreciate you coming on board because, you've got such an abundance of knowledge, bro, and experience that, like, man, very, very far and few get to go through. So we're going to put this on a little bit of a fast forward, but would you mind just breaking down and just sort of sharing us, man, what how you got into all of this? And for the audience members who may not be aware, Josh is a dancer as well as an absolutely phenomenal singer too. So would you mind just sort of telling us from a performance standpoint of it all, if you don't mind sharing, bro?
Yeah. I'm sorry if I don't make any sense. I didn't really kind of, write this out, but I started off as a dancer. I want to say, in a nutshell, like putting the story, condensing it down a bit, I started around 12 years old. I started breakdancing, and then I got into hip hop dancing. And then me and the boys, we formed a crew in South Auckland, a little town in New Zealand. New Zealand is a very, very small country. And we rehearsed, we practiced, we worked hard, and we ended up flying to Los Angeles. And we competed in the World Hip Hop Competition. I want to say around 2008, and we managed to get silver, second place. And this is a crew of boys that come from nothing. So it was huge for us. We came back, and in the airport, the Channel 3 news, Channel 1 news were there. We made big noise within the music industry in New Zealand. This is before Paris Global. This is before Request Dance Crew. This is before all of that. We were kind of like the pinnacle of, dance crews going to the world stage from New Zealand. We were the first crew to do that. And then everyone kind of followed after that. I feel a bit cocky when I say that, but I'm just going to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, from there I stemmed out, and, I could sing as well. I had that talent in my back pocket. And I remember I was on tour. I was doing club gigs. Like, I was just dancing in the background, and also we used to do like ciphers, like b-boy ciphers within the club. We get paid to just b-boy in the crowd. And I was found by the guy that was promoting that club gig. I was found as far as a singer. we were touring in the van, right? And me and the boys from the crew, we were in the van and we're going to the next city. And the guy, the promoter guy, he said, "Does any of you guys sing?" And one of the boys were like, "Yeah, Josh can sing." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay. Oh, sorry, I swore. No swearing?"
It's all right. No. You go for it, bro. Yeah.
All right, cool. And then the promoter guy, his name's Mark. He asked me to sing, and I started singing. I am so in love with you, whatever you, and that's the Al Green "Let's Stay Together." And then that was when I was found. Like that was when I was found as far as a singer. Stopped the van. I sang it again, and then from there, after the tour, the club tour of dancing, we went back to his place, and he basically wrote up a contract, an artist contract, which is like a singing, dancing contract. And after that, I released my first single. I got a top 10 in the charts in New Zealand, as far as, as a singer dancer.
Yep.
And then from there, I released more singles. I got number one, went gold, and went platinum. I got a few platinums and a few gold singles. Released the album. The album went gold, and everything kind of just blew up from there.
Wow. And okay, and I remember, bro, when we were catching up, because it was always such a, it was such a, inspiring thing to hear some of these conversations of you, like, of kind of where you had been, and now that we get to sort of like come to Magic Mind together, and it was a real spin out, bro, because we were like, to hear that you've rubbed shoulders here, you've already been to these, you've gone to here, like, on an international level and stuff like that. And so for me, it was always very fascinating, because I don't think I've ever known, someone as close as you are to me to kind of explore that realm there of, it's fame, you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing, right? And so, like, did you ever, I guess, come to struggles at all ever during that process, or do you feel like it was just like a natural progression? Because it sounds like even for you, the guy was just like, "Yo, who can sing?" And you were just like, boom, you were just like, I'm here ready right now, let's do this. And that thing has just now constantly, and now it's gotten to where you are now. So what I'm trying to say is that, was there ever moments that you felt like, okay, I'm going to do a push here, or was it just like a ride to the top sort of thing, so to speak, or
Oh, yeah, I hear you, bro. At the time, I was hungry. I wanted to make money. I wanted to be famous as a singer and a dancer. I wanted to be basically, the next big thing coming from New Zealand. That was my goal. You got to have big goals, especially when you're starting out. If you think, if you pan out and make, saying to people that you're going to be the next big artist coming from New Zealand and you want to be on a worldwide scale, that's massive, But what comes with that is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of emotions that, for me, I didn't know how to deal with. All I thought of was the bigger picture. But my anxiety was over the roof because, I was putting all this pressure on myself and my label, because I signed with the label. I was with Warner Australia, Warner New Zealand. All these big names coming from this little guy from Auckland that was just a background dancer, and then to be pushed into the spotlight as a singer. And now all this is attention and all this fame is on you. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of anxiety that comes with that. And
was there a lot of it sounds like there was a lot of not just your own expectation, but it sounded like there was a lot of expectation from other people as well. Is that kind of what I'm picking up on?
Yeah. Because I think when you say it, you need to do it. You know what I mean? And you're kind of like, you're making your label and the investors and everybody investing their money, their time, and their effort into promoting you and pushing you as an artist. You have to sell. You have to sell yourself and make yourself, you know what I mean? And that has to come across as your character. You have to sell that. Yeah.
Did you ever at all in any point kind of feel a bit of a struggle when it came to doing what was expected and asked from you, like from an artistic standpoint, or in those earlier years where you just kind of like, I'm here right now and I'm blessed, I'm grateful for this, and I'm just going to do what they tell me to do, and there was never no issues with
Right. That's a good question, bro. Let me just go back to my younger mind.
It's a
Can you say that again, sorry?
For sure. So, what I wanted to know was the expectations of what the people had around you. So there will be like, whether it might be like, we want you to perform this, or maybe we want you to, sing this song, or did you ever have like creative, I don't want to say outlet control, or were you kind of more in
Right.
sort of this like framework of an artist that were like, we want you to be this type, or was it just like, we love you, bro, and you keep doing your thing, and then we're gonna start selling tickets and all that kind of stuff? Or I'm just curious, with that.
I feel like I was manufactured. I was kind of like my label. They kind of put me in this category, which was pop. It was like a pop dancer, sort of like Jason Derulo, Chris Brown, Neo vibes. You know what I mean? But coming from New Zealand, like with the Polynesian swag. And that was my point of difference, was I was Polynesian, kind of like The Rock. I feel like his point of difference is, he's Polynesian.
Yep.
He's got that framework as a massive Samoan dude, but he's very talented. I kind of that was my angle, if that makes any sense. But as far as music, I didn't really. I mean, I did write a few singles. One of them was one of my biggest songs. You Got Me, featuring Scribe. But some of the other songs it wasn't really me. If that makes any sense. The only, because I read a catalog of songs, bro. I want to say like so many songs, and that's kind of what made my skill of writing songs better, because I just kept writing and writing, because it was shit at first, bro. No. But I just kept writing and writing, and they chose the ones that fit what they wanted me to be as an artist. And then the rest, even though they were good, they didn't align with the artist that they wanted me to be.
Right. Okay. Interesting. I'm wanting to understand a little bit more of, I guess, your drive, and maybe the reason why you decided to be like, you know what, I want to be New Zealand's next best thing, bro. You know what I mean? Like, where did this come from? Do you know? Was it something that, like, I remember you telling me your father used to really, get you to do some singing lessons as a young kid. Was that something that was passed down to you, or was it just kind of like, would you mind kind of sharing with us a bit about that?
Yeah. I was brought up in a very, very strict family. It was kind of like, to be honest, it was like, I don't know if you've seen, but like the Jackson 5 type of upbringing. It was very strict. It was religious. It was, we grew up in church. That's where we learned how to sing, me and my sisters. And I feel like I learned that discipline and that drive from my father, because he was very, you do a wrong note, you get a hiding when you get home from church, which is kind of contradicting, but is what it is,
Right. So there was a bit of, I guess, so expectation that you had from your father there too, to be like, like I got to sort of like maybe do this, or like to, like a bit of like proving yourself. Did you ever feel like that? It was kind of like, I got to prove myself worthy, or did you ever have those struggles?
Honestly,
at all?
Bro, I'll tell you the truth, man. It was kind of like fear. It was fear. It was fear of like not doing the job right. And if you don't do it right, you're gonna get hurt. Which is kind of weird.
Well, I can kind of very much understand that fear in relation to, being a dancer. I started in the live television space, and, if you got one move wrong, you were done for, bro. You weren't getting booked on that next job. And that fear did drive me to have to become a better dancer, right? And I'm grateful for that. However, I think in the later years, I sort of struggle with it a little bit. So how do you now, in hindsight, when if you're looking back and if there are other people, kind of maybe trying to figure out ways or like devices or tools and things like that to be able to maybe motivate themselves or, to get themselves to a particular goal, would you think, how do you look at things being driven by fear now? Do you think it serves a positive purpose if it's used in the right way, or do you think there's actually better ways to sort of go about it?
Yeah. And you got some good ass questions. I feel like fear and anxiety is quite, and it's in the same path for me because I suffer from anxiety. Like, yeah, I get really bad anxiety, but to help other people that kind of go through that fear and anxiety, I want to say be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Kind of tame that beast. If you can tame it and quieten it down, but also move forward, you can ride that shit. You can make it work for you, if that makes any sense. And instead of against you.
Okay. That's really good advice, because if it's like people do maybe, and many people I know have struggled, even myself included, but I like that, man. I like that you're saying that it's not something that you necessarily need to perhaps get rid of, but maybe use it to your advantage.
Oh, 100%.
Kind of thing. And,
accept it. Bro, you're so right. You got to remember that there's all the performers go through it. It's not just the one person. We all go through it, and we all, you know what I mean?
Oh, brother, 100%. Yeah, I'm very, very, very familiar in that space of anxiety, to the point where I have gotten such stage fright that I didn't understand the very thing that I'd been doing my entire life. I forgot how to be a dancer, bro. I've actually, I've gone to the extremes of that place. So yeah,
Right.
you're very much, I'm with you, brother, on that one.
Okay. Cool.
When we're talking about, like, I guess the spaces of like the industry and particular struggles, I think, we can probably agree that we share the same spaces. You've already been in the spaces with it as a dancer as well. What do you feel as if, though, kind of maybe an area that perhaps the industry maybe makes it a little bit challenging for us everyday live performing artists, and is there any struggles and challenges that you maybe have gone through that you've perhaps figured out already yourself, and maybe can weigh in on that? Or are there things that you kind of just go, what, it's kind of is the way that it is, the industry is designed that the way it is, and you just got to kind of, what I mean, like, take it for what it is and just play the game.
Yeah, right. I think one thing that comes... Oh, sorry, bro.
No, sorry, I don't think I really said that question properly, but I think, yeah, do you ever feel like there's areas that can be changed, man? Or do you think it's kind of like, what, that's just the way it is?
Oh, right. Nothing's coming to mind as far as change within the dance industry. I want to say in the entertainment industry. Or what you're doing is pretty good. To tell you the truth.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
The app, and like make it more accessible for the clients and the talent to get work. It's getting work.
Well, I guess the my own struggles and that I've picked up on just purely within the Australian industry, because I don't know any other industry outside of it. But for dancers itself, it's very competitive, because there is such a lack of it's supply and demand, right? There's so many talented dancers, but there's just not that much work. And even when you are working successfully, bro, I you still go through gig to gig, and there's all these lulls and uncertainties, and there's no stability, bro. And it's constantly that lifestyle was kind of fun and exciting when I was younger, but as I got older, it was tiring, bro. So then I started to go, how else can I sort of figure out how to, make a living out of doing what I love to do, and which led me to contract work. But then, obviously that's not necessarily where my heart sat, was to do a show. No matter how good it was, I felt very, I guess, I had this struggle within myself to be doing the same thing over and over. Some people are wired and driven, and they have a lot of fulfillment and joy. Personally, I had, like you said, anxiety, bro. Like it was a very frightening thing for me to go through such repetition with my body over and over again. So the areas that I wanted to tap into was obviously, just trying to figure out how we can, just have more work, or just create side hustles as dancers. And that's why I thought, the area of providing gigs, in the online space may be the solution forward. So we're exploring that space currently right now, and we're going to be doing some testing this coming month. Finally, bro, it's been taking so long to get to this point, but I'm really understanding that this tech space, this startup tech space, is actually, they say it takes 5 years to make any kind of money for a tech startup, and then 10 years for it to be, completely solidified. So we've gone through a bit of our own trials and tribulations with it, but we feel like we've created this foundation finally. So we're pushing through, bro. And I do believe in the vision, and that problem that I shared with you, as dancers is real, man. And it's unfortunate, despite, how successful you are. But the beauty about like seeing you doing what you're doing is that, you're a singer, bro. And do you ever see yourself having this time span on not gigging anymore outside of singing?
100%.
When it comes to dancing, bro, do you feel like, do you ever feel that like, we call this the Dancer Dies Twice because we have to depart the stage of our, live, performing career, and we can't do that aspect for forever, you know what I mean? So do you ever think about that, bro, or do you kind of still go, that's all okay, because I know you've got other things happening in your life? Do you mind just sharing with us like kind of life after all of this,
100%.
how you see it and how you deal with it, bro?
I always deal with, I see the problem, but I always figure out a solution. Solutions are always the way forward. Don't get stuck too much in the problem of not having a dance gig or a singing gig or whatever. Don't get too like lulled, if that's a word, like down in the dumps. You got to get out there, man. You got to sell yourself. You got to go talk to agencies. You've got to work. You've got to create your own website. You've got to create your own, like I've gone and created a band. I've got like my circle now is I've surrounded myself with a lot of musicians and a lot of dancers, just in case like big gigs come and, a massive client wants a show here or a show there. I've kind of become self-employed. And you've got to think that way, because contracts will only come in, like Magic Mike. Or I was in The Lion King, and that went for a span of 3 years. Great money. But it's only a one spurt, like it's a one spurt of contract, and that's a one certain time that you'll get paid. So make sure you save your money. When you get your contract, save your money. Don't spend it. Right, there was this one guy, he in The Lion King from Africa. I won't say his name, but he got he got fired before the contract finished, and he didn't save at all. He didn't save at all. So he was making all this money, and then he went back to his home, and he just had nothing to show for it, and then he was back to square one. So kind of like invest. Right. I want to say invest in if we're talking about that. Is that what we're talking about? I don't know if we want to take that road.
Brother, of course we can, man. This is the financial aspect is very much a huge part of navigating the spaces of becoming successful. So I think it's really important to talk about it 100%, bro. Yeah. Do your studies, man. Like the first contract I got, as far as like singing, dancing, and theater, I bought a apartment straight away. Like that was my first goal, because it's an asset. You know what I mean? Like then
you, yeah, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and then I started buying assets. I learned a little bit about the stock market.
Hmm.
So it's learning how to generate money when you don't have any because the industry is fluctuates. You know what I mean? Like,
I just had this conversation with Pat Cuo who jumped on board, and he said he talked about the creative entrepreneur, man, and I freaking
mm,
love that. You know what I mean? Because what you're talking about right now is, yeah, it's about, hey, what can I do with the skills that I have right now? Kind of
mm,
think ahead, figure out solutions to problems and stuff like that, and being able to navigate myself so I don't have to, go through all this stuff. That takes a lot of, planning, thinking, learning too. It's
mm,
I think shedding light and bringing some bit of awareness into this space. Because, bro, I remember, man, when I became, when I got to the place where I felt like, oh, like I've made it here, right? I just
mm,
remember going, I'm so grateful, I'm so blessed, right? But then the thought came to me when I was like, man, we're kind of like at the top of the game here, so to speak, and like we at the bottom of the barrel. And
mm,
that's kind of, I don't want to say, it is, and I've been saying that for so long now, but when you're in the game for a very long time and then you don't see the pay change and it keeps going down and stuff, and then start to
mm,
kind of go, hang on, wait, like I am blessed and I'm happy, but also too, like I don't understand what's going on here. You know what I
mm,
mean? And so, it forced me to have to kind of really think, okay, how can I make this better? Because the struggling artist thing, it's kind of romantic, it's exciting and fun. But as you get older, bro, like you got
mm,
family, but
yeah,
we go through these changes in life, and it's unfortunate to not see sort of. I would love to just see dancers kind of, maybe at that scale, because it's just a short time in their lives to be able to be, all shiny and bright on stage like that. To kind of maybe have a better standards. But I think
mm,
that's all being happening. It's all in the works right now in Australia, which is really exciting.
yeah,
Um, but I
100%.
know we're really kind of like digging deep into kind of this sort of like financial area. But I think,
Mm,
bro, what I said at the very beginning, man, and I truly mean that, and I think this too, bro, is like um when it comes to, I guess, connections, networking, friends in the industry, bro, I feel like, it can be difficult to really find the real ones, bro. And, you have been like, man, like, I'm so glad we got to, hang and meet and become friends,
mm,
during that time, even though it was kind of a little bit short, bro. But yeah,
yeah,
man, you helped me out, man. And I think it's really important to sort of like have a buddy like that, whether if it's on
mm,
contracts and stuff like that. And, yeah, I don't know what it's like for you, bro, but when you have been sort of in the spaces of being in the industry and networking, you become so intertwined. Have you
mm.
ever had difficulty and challenges to be able to figure out, who's really kind of like there for me, or who's really actually, looking out for me?
Right.
Have you ever had to deal with those kinds of challenges? And then,
Yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, just keep your family close because everybody is really out for themselves. But let's be honest. Like why are we going to the show? Because we want, we're doing what we love, we're making our money. But then there's those rare ones like you and me where you actually kind of connect, and it's the ones where you don't try. When you're trying to
yeah,
to to I don't know, be someone's friend, and it just doesn't work like that. It's the ones that you don't really need to try and you just connect, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? Those are the ones that I feel like are gonna stay. But yeah, if that makes any sense. But I always try to keep my family, you know, that's my foundation.
Yeah, nice, bro, nice. And like, yeah,
Mm.
speaking of family, it's so nice to see you now, like thriving in this new chapter in your life as well, man. And with
Mm.
that, I feel like there's so much like words of wisdom that you kind of now have as well, just like both like now in this space of life and professionally as well, bro. And so this kind of last part of the show is sort of like sharing a bit of like imparting. I know you've been dropping a whole bunch of knowledge throughout this whole show. But I think if there was like a message, bro, to like your younger self, and let's like kind of look at it from the perspective of a dancer, and you've seen success, within your singing, and then that came from your dancing, right? If there's like people out there, maybe, kind of in that sort of same place, man, like where you said you grew up in New Zealand, quiet, small town sort of thing, and, if they have this hunger, bro, like you had, right, to sort of get to, see the things that you've seen and experience the things that you have, what do you think that kind of advice would be, bro, to any kind of words of wisdoms there for that person?
Yeah, for sure. I want to say, make sure that this is the road or career path that you want. And if it is, don't give up. Keep chasing that dream because there's going to be a lot of shit and sucks. People like we were saying before, people who are in it for themselves and they don't really care. That all they care about is the money. I'm talking about the people hierarchy. Um, but I want to say just keep chasing, man. There's going to be speed bumps. There's going to be brick walls, and you just got to smash it down. That's what I'm saying. Like you have to be strong within this industry. You have to know what you want, and you have to keep moving forward. Because again, there's always going to be speed bumps.
Nice, brother. Well, hey, thank you so much for imparting all of that knowledge, bro. And look, I know you're a busy man. You've got family too, and I apologize again for getting the time zone mixed up. But
All good, brother.
I want to keep it to like 30 minutes. No, but I'm gonna just press stop now, and we'll catch up. But for now, brother, I just want to say thank you so much and sharing all of your experiences like that. I really appreciate it, man. And again, thank you for coming on board, bro.
Hey, all the best to all the newcomers within the industry now. I wish you all the best. Peace.